Hi, everybody. I'm Vinny Mraz, and I'm a lifetime arts trainer.
And I'm Linda Monica Eisenberg, also a lifetime arts trainer.
I was just wondering if we could chat a little bit about curriculum, writing curriculum for creative aging programs, and how you approach it, and how you also talk to teaching artist students about how to write theirs.
Well, writing a curriculum is a big piece of what we do as we plan to go in and work with our older adults or anybody that we're teaching. So really thinking about who that person is that we're working with first. What are their interests? What are the skill development, the knowledge, the prior experience, the cultural connections that we're going to offer them, that we're going to reach out and touch with them. The other piece I always like them to think about, and I like to think about myself, am I the right person to go in and do this work? Am I able to make those cultural connections? Do I understand who's there, and do I understand what is needed? How do I create a partnership with adult learners? It's a very different model, that many of us have had as we've gone through K-12 school or through college. And always remembering that it's not only skills that we're building, it's learning that we're developing, it's scaffolding that we're doing over a time. It's also is equally about social engagement and collaboration. How do we create a unit of learners where I'm the facilitator, right, of the curriculum. I'm not the person that knows all by any means, but really the person that's going to help facilitate learning between the participants.
When you're writing a curriculum, are there specific pieces that you include? What are the different parts of a curriculum for someone who maybe hasn't written one before?
We think, first of all, the description of the class, right? And really, that's the last thing I write, just so that people know that, because if you're planning backwards, that's the last thing you write, right? But it is a really important piece. It's my contract with my students. It's my promise to them. So it has to be very realistic. It has to be student-centered, clear and concise, not using the art speak that I've been trained for 40 years to use, but everyday language that invites everybody into the program. Non-gendered language becomes really important. What I love to put in the description are those overarching goals for the students, really thinking about the significant learning experiences, the benefits they're going to reap from participating in this learning experience with me. Simple things like some of the key topics that you would cover. And then always, I think it isn't the way that everybody thinks probably, but talking about that possibility, what that culminating event will look like, the promise of the culminating event in a way that won't frighten away your students, but will really take them to the next level. Underneath that description comes the course goals, the objectives, right? Here's what you are going to participate in today, or here's what we will be participating in today. So very clear objectives. I like to use 3 or 4, and they focus on skill building, social engagement, and outcomes. So that keeps it very clear, very simple. And then you can assess whether you've met those in the class. And then I also do them for each session. And finally, and you didn't ask me this question, but I think it's really important, assessment. How do we assess, not evaluate? Those are 2 very, very different things. How do we assess our own work as instructors? Are we delivering? Are we facilitating? Are our students learning what it is that we have made that contract or promise with them? And then to help them through various kinds of protocols, and each artist has their own. I know that you have some of your own. How do they learn to do that for one another and themselves?
I like the way you speak about these elements as a contract between you and your students. It's just about that clear communication of understanding, both for yourself as the teacher and for them as the participants, what is it that you're actually engaging with, and holding yourself sort of accountable to, are we keeping things moving forward, like you said, but then also just clear communication. As we talk about with older adults, they have clear goals or objectives for why they're coming to your class. So it's putting that out there in that class description or in the goals. This is what you're going to learn. So, when you're walking in the door, what is it that you're going to encounter that day?
Well, and I think the thing I left out that you really made me realize when you said that is, checking back in to see what it is that they're most interested in. So within that class, going back to that flexibility, I don't know if you found yourself in a place where you just have, as we talked about before, you just have to change lanes.
Right.
Because ultimately it's their needs.
Right. What do you consider to be a strong curriculum? Are there things when you're writing one or when you're looking at a student's curriculum when they're working on one, are there things that stick out to you that make it particularly strong?
The first thing that I want to say is that I often think about the curriculum as the roadmap. And if you don't have a destination, it's really hard to take a journey somewhere, right? There are people that do that, and they end up in some fascinating places, but most of us need a destination. And for a curriculum, for me, is that destination. And when a good, strong, wonderful curriculum has that clarity, it speaks to the people that you're that you're interested in having, who might be interested in your class.